four-wheel rides the road. The ground underneath my boot heels burns right through my soul.
So Jimmy's over there. Let's go find him. I think he's in the garden. Well, it's not a garden this year, but he's in the garden spot. Looks that way. Oh yeah. He's over on the other side of the garden somewhere. My battery is getting very low. Ugh, I'm afraid my receiver's going to shut off. Turn the volume down a little. Go around the gate. What's left of it. Ugh. I think he's out here in the field. Probably down in this tall grass foraging for slugs and snails. Oh yeah, very loud right in here. Where are you, Jimmy? A lot of turtle trails down here. You see that little, like a little bulldozer going through the grass there? That looks like a Jimmy track. I would bet it is. Oh, it sure is. There he is. Take a look. There he is. That's a Jimmy track, and there's Jimmy. Check him out. And that's a fresh Jimmy track. So he's bulldozed his way up through the grass. He's just sitting there. I don't see any slug juice on his face, but I don't doubt it a bit that he's been out in the grass here gobbling up some slugs because it's been raining today. It's perfect turtle weather. It's in the mid 70s, close to 80. Oh yeah, that is a happy, healthy looking turtle right there. Beautiful turtle too. Hello, Jimmy Irwin. All right, I'm not gonna disturb him. I'm gonna let him feel like he's hidden. I'm just gonna collect my data and get on down and find Catherine. And I'm going to make sure it's recording. It is. Now watch this. I'm going to go in as if I was a turtle down into this little turtle trail. So this is what the box turtle's view of his habitat looks like as he's moving through it. Right up there too, Jimmy. Oh, yeah. Say hello, Jimmy. And someone decides to call me at this moment. How funny. Okay, so I'm going to take a look inside the turtle tunnel and see if I can see Jimmy. He's moved up inside a little bit. Let's just take a look and see. So I'm following the tunnel up. Coming around the bend here. And I don't know where Jimmy is, but this is as far up as I can go. Hopefully there's no copperheads up in there. But this is a turtle tunnel, in case you were wondering. I've only seen this on this piece of property. Turtle tunnels may not have been described before, but that's what I'm going to call this. It's a form in the grass created by the turtle as he moves back and forth on his foraging forays in the forest of grass. And as you can see, this is a forest of grass. The grass itself is probably almost waist high, with all these other herbaceous plants that are about 10 to 12 feet high. And of course, lots of good hiding places in the multiflora rows where turtles can bed down for the night or forage or just get away from danger. This is an absolutely wonderful place if you're a box turtle. All right, now let's go find Catherine. So I'm searching for Catherine now, and I believe she's still in the vicinity of the neighbor's house. Not too sure yet though. I mean, I'm getting a really strong signal, but I can't tell if it's coming from up in the woods here behind their house or up in the woods over there. Could be getting a bounce. We'll find out in a minute. Okay. Oh yeah, she's up here. This time last year, I was tracking right in this area. Found her over here, right about where I'm headed now. And she was about 5 feet from a hornet's nest. But I somehow managed to get her data without the hornets seeing me. I don't know, I still don't know how I didn't get stung. I think the wind was right and I was just really quiet and calm. She is in here somewhere. Don't see her yet. She might be up on the hill though. Let me check up on the hill. I have to be really careful not to step on her. Oh, wait a minute. Now it's getting stronger. Yep. I passed her. Where did she go? There she is. There she goes. Hello, Catherine. And she's getting away from me. She says, I've had it with you. Don't want to have anything to do with you crazy humans. Well, we'll see you later, Catherine. I really don't want to bother you too much, so I will leave you alone. Note where you were, take down my data, and get out. You can see where she is. She's up above these buildings. This is almost the exact same place I found her last year at this time, when there was a large hornet's nest just down there on that old road. Oh wow, look at this. Before I record the data, I want to show you this. Very cool spider. Let's see if I can get up to the spider without scaring it. I'm going to have to go around. Oh wow, she's actually working on spinning her web right now. So I don't want to get too close because I'm afraid I will damage her brand new web. What a beautiful creature. And watch her spin that web. She's pulling silk out of her abdomen, out of her spinnerets, putting it in the exact spot to make a perfect insect trap. Now, of course, you know, I hope, without spiders, there would be so many insects that you could not go outside. These animals are so important to a healthy ecosystem. It's so important to us to keep us, to keep giving us the ability to go outside. And of course, keeping these pesky insects away from our crops so that we don't have to use as many pesticides, chemical-based pesticides that will not only kill the insects but harm us as well and harm the entire ecosystem. What an amazingly cool creature. Look at that incredible camouflage. Now I would bet that her camouflage is the perfect camouflage when you apply her to this tree. If you were to put her on this pine, she would pretty much vanish. Because if you look at all that lichen, the same color as her abdomen and the same pattern pretty much. That is just so amazing. Watch her spin that web. I really hope my camera is getting this, because this is just too incredible. We should all say thank you. We should all say thank you to the spider. A very beautiful, necessary, and of course very misunderstood creature that needs our understanding and our respect so that it can continue to play its vital role in the circle of life. And just like the circle of life, also known as the web of life, if this spider were to cease to exist, just like the turtle or just like the snake, the bird, the lion, the jellyfish, the crab, and so on, if this animal was to cease to exist, it would break one of the strands in the web of life. And then if many more of those strands keep getting broken, eventually the web will collapse like a broken spider's web. And then there will be nothing. Because the web of life is all there is. It is the reality. It supports everything we know, our ancestors knew, and everything that will be. So take care of the web of life. Take care of all creatures. And therefore take care of yourself. All right, well, I found both turtles. They're doing quite well. And something that's very interesting to me, and actually it's just astonishing really. Catherine, who I've been tracking since 2008, goes to the same places every year, goes to those places at about the same time. And as proof of this, the spot where I found her today, just right over there behind me on the ridge, near that big pine tree behind me there. This time last year, in fact it was on August 14th, it's August 9th today. This time last year on August 14th, she was in that very same spot, probably about 15 feet from where I found her today, near that big hornet's nest I mentioned before. Now, what is it about this spot that brings Catherine here at the same time every year? What is it? It's so interesting to me. Is it a certain plant that's ripe, that produces a fruit that she has to have? What is it? Are there certain kinds of foods here other than plants? Maybe a certain slug or a certain millipede, a certain kind of worm, something that she needs? Or is it just a path that this turtle has been following every year for its entire life, which could be up to 80 years probably. I know she's a very old turtle. What is it? It's baffling. It's what it is. But it's amazing. And it's proof that you can't move these creatures. You can't take them and move them to new places and expect them to just suddenly be able to live there. You have to understand that these animals are connected to this spot. So, as with Mrs. Bones, if you've been following this study, You know, Mrs. Bones, we tried to move her because she was living along this road, very close to a very busy road. And I tried to move her up into the woods several times, and she always came right back. And then when I moved her a long way off one time, and thinking it would work, it didn't. She found her way home. If you're interested in watching that video, it's called The Odyssey of Mrs. Bones here on YouTube, or you can just click the link that's right down here, and that will take you to The Odyssey of Mrs. Bones, and you can see what I'm talking about for yourself. But the point is, these animals can't be moved. If you find a box turtle crossing a road, help it to the other side and put it down in the bushes off the road, and it will continue on its journey of its life, doing what box turtles do. Don't take it home. Don't take it home as a pet. They don't make good pets. If you want a pet turtle, adopt one that someone doesn't want anymore. Check Craigslist or any of the other lists wherever you live. You'll be able to find a turtle that somebody doesn't want anymore. You don't need to take one out of the wild. These animals need to stay wild. Help them stay wild by taking them across the road, helping them cross the road so they don't get hit by cars. All right, now, that being said, I want you to meet the two newest turtles in the Turtle Tracks Box Turtle Conservation Project. So take a look at these two turtles, and I want you to meet them, I want you to know about them, and just see their story, because they're totally different. They live in a totally different place. Brand new study, studying the amazing and beautiful eastern box turtle. Hey folks, I would like to introduce you to the newest members of the Turtle Trails Box Turtle Telemetry Project. Now the first turtle here is Shelly. This is Shelly Echo. And Shelly is a relatively old turtle. I'm guessing somewhere over 50 years old. And she is a unique turtle because she's missing both of her left front feet. She's missing her left front foot and her right rear foot. Now, of course, you can't see them because she's clamped up tight in her shell, hence the name Shelly. But spider webs. But Shelly here is one of the first turtles that we have transmitted here at the Sky Valley study site. Now, you noticed earlier I said Turtle Trails Box Turtle Tracking Project. That's right, because this is a brand new project that I recently started at my new place of business, Trails Carolina. And this site is located near DuPont State Forest. It's a very remote site, as you can see, looking behind me there, deep in the forest. Shelly here was found in a field by very strange sound I heard. It sounded like a cat meowing, but there are no cats. Anyway, Shelly here was found by me and a group of students from Trails while we were out walking in the field. It's not too far from here. And she's a very unique turtle because she is missing those feet, and that's why we decided to put a transmitter on her and follow her and compare her movements to the movements of a healthy turtle with all of its feet, fingers, toes, and so on. So the strange sound I'm hearing is Shelly. She's breathing funny, making a funny gurgling sound with her nose. Something I'm going to have to keep an eye on, because often turtles can get respiratory infections and they'll blow bubbles and have discharge from their nose and eyes. So far she seems fine, but it's a funny sound she's making. Do you hear that? Okay, so I'm going to release Shelly, let her go, and we're going to keep tracking her for as many years as we can. Put her right down here where I found her. There she is. We'll leave her alone and come and see her in a week or so. Now we need to go find the other turtle, the second turtle in the project, which was actually the first turtle, the first one we put a transmitter on, and its name is Paula Journeys. So Paula was found on the other side of the field from where Shelly was found. They're both females, and I believe that both these turtles came to this field to lay their eggs. And I'm not going to be able to discern that for sure until I've tracked them for at least 1 year. So, let's go find Paula and see what her status is. I came walking through the bushes here, following the receiver's beep, and there she is. I just walked out into the open, this little clearing, and she was right there on the ground. Take a look at her. She's got her back legs all stretched out, and she's sunning. And that's the way box turtles sun. They'll stick out their legs so they can catch as much of the solar radiation as possible and make the best of the situation. Grab as much heat as they can to help them digest their food or gestate their eggs to get ready to lay. I'm sure she's already laid her eggs for this year. It's probably what she was doing up in the field where we found her back in the spring. I would say she probably has a belly full of blueberries and slugs and snails. So this is a good way to digest your food quicker. All right, let's get some data collected. I'm going to carefully sit down here and hope I don't disturb her. Let's get a closer look. Look at those back legs sticking out. All right. So Paula is the 5th turtle in the Turtle Tracks Box Turtle Conservation Project. So it's going to be really interesting to compare the movements of Paula Journeys here and Shelly Echo, the other turtle we're following here on the campus of the Academy at Trails, Carolina. Because these two turtles live in dense forest. There is some areas that have been modified by humans, but for the most part, both these turtles seem to gravitate towards living in the dense forest, unlike the turtles at Earthshine, who spend a lot of time on the edge of the forest. These turtles are sticking to the woods. So it's going to be really interesting to see what kind of results I get between these two turtles and then Mrs. Bones, of course, who likes to live beside the highway and a horse pasture, and then Catherine and Jimmy Irwin, who like to split their time between the forest and the fields up at Earthshine. So it's going to be some interesting data coming in here over the next few years, and it's really going to be interesting to see how they all relate and how they're all very different. I can see her poking her head out there taking a look at me. Okay, well, we'll leave you alone, Paula Journeys, and we'll go check on the other turtles. Okay, so Mrs. Bones is home. Here she is. She's back home after spending around a month in captivity at Meredith's house. She was in a holding pen outside, and she was there because of a very strange series of events that happened to this beautiful old turtle. Now, how this happened, we're not 100% sure, but somehow Mrs. Bones ended up over 2 miles away, crossing a road, and was found by a concerned citizen who found her, picked her up, and he was intrigued by the device on top of her shell. Well, he took her to a local convenience store where he met a woman who he explained the situation to, and she said, "Oh my gosh, I think I know that turtle," because I had put some flyers up, maybe a year or so ago, searching for Mr. Bones, who's been missing since 2010. And, well, I think she must have thought it was Mr. Bones. That's okay, because the woman and the man working together were able to connect with Meredith, and Meredith contacted me and said, "We have Mrs. Bones. She was found several miles away crossing a road. What's going on?" Well, that's what I said. What's going on? Well, the day before this happened, whoa, don't jump out of my hand. The day before this happened, I had tried to locate Mrs. Bones and got no signal. Well, that explained why I got no signal, because she was over 2 miles away and the signal doesn't travel that far in this terrain. So I picked up Mrs. Bones, I turned on my receiver, and I got no signal from her transmitter. It wasn't working. And I thought, well, that's really strange. And talk about a really bizarre series of events to find a turtle with a broken transmitter 2 miles from where she lives. That was the weirdest thing ever. Well, needless to say, we had Mrs. Bones, luckily, and we had her broken transmitter. So I sent the transmitter back to the company that manufactured it, Hollow Hill, which makes some of the best transmitters in the world for tracking wildlife. And they fixed the transmitter, sent it back to me as of yesterday. I reattached it to Mrs. Bones, and then camouflaged the transmitter, and she is ready to be released into the wild. So this is the continuing odyssey of Mrs. Bones. Now, if you want to learn a little bit more about Mrs. Bones' odyssey, check out the link right down here below Mrs. Bones and I, and that will take you to the odyssey of Mrs. Bones. It's a video I did a couple of years ago about Mrs. Bones and her travels. And boy, her odyssey continues. And I tell you, some odyssey it is, because the odds of somebody finding Mrs. Bones here with her transmitter that was not working and then getting her back to me, I'd say that's pretty astronomical. But yet here she is. And now I'm going to release her in her habitat right here in a spot that she knows very well. This is the spot where Mrs. Bones hibernated last year. Right here. So here we go. She's raring to go. Where are you going to go, Mrs. Bones? Well, I think she's done with me. I can't blame her. Okay, she's probably going to head over there for that green vegetation because, well, that'll give her some security because night's coming. And she'll probably dig in, make herself a form, and in the morning she'll wake up, take a big deep breath, and she'll realize exactly where she is, and she will go back to doing Mrs. Bones' turtley things that she does so well. There's a little tree in your way there, Mrs. Bones. So it's really very interesting what happened to her, and we're really not 100% sure. We don't know if she made her way there on her own. I highly doubt it. Or she was picked up by, a dog or a coyote or something like that. I doubt that happened. But my number one hypothesis is that she was picked up by someone who possibly either wanted her as a pet or was just intrigued by the device on her shell and took her home and either decided to let her go on their property or she escaped. Whatever happened, here she is back in her habitat, and that is what matters. And we're going to continue tracking Mrs. Bones for as long as we can, learning all that we can about this beautiful animal and the box turtle in its native habitat here in western North Carolina, so that we can share it with you, so that you will be able to learn as much as possible about these animals and respect them and love them. And then, of course, you will want to take care of them and conserve them, because they are a beautiful ancient creature that needs to be understood. Okay, you can see she's heading for this vegetation. You can't blame her. Here's one last look at Mrs. Bones before we leave her alone. Bye, Mrs. Bones. Very special turtle. We'll see you next time. Okay, so you're probably wondering if her transmitter's working after all that trouble. Well, here we go. Yep. Nice strong signal, brand new transmitter. So we'll be able to track Mrs. Bones for another 2 years. And that's great. That just will give us 2 more years of data on this beautiful turtle that we can then share with everybody who's concerned with box turtle conservation. And those of you out there in internet land who want to know more about how you can take care of these beautiful creatures, how you can conserve them, how you can provide better habitat for them on your land, and also it'll help scientists and researchers out there that are working to learn as much as they can about these wonderful creatures and preserve them for all time. So I guess that's it for today for Turtle Tracks. I hope you liked the update. It was the update of all the turtles in the Turtle Tracks project. And well, until next time, have a nice hike in the forest.
Some that are made to plant their feet and stay right where they are. Some build their homes on the shifting sands beneath those shooting stars. Some bright and shining stars. A woman like you was born in love with a kind and gentle hand, but I was born a rolling stone and I'll die a rambling man. I wish I could have stayed, I wish I could have changed, but a rambling man is a rambling man by any other name, by any other name. Someday you may forgive me for leaving you all alone, but I can't deny the wanderlust and the call of the open road, out on the open road. I wish I could have stayed, I wish I could have changed, but a rambling man is a rambling man by any other name, by any other name. I could have changed, but a rambling man is a rambling man by any other name, by any other name. Well, a